to the Jin's Treasure. Hope everyone is doing well. Today we're gonna do a new style of wire wrap. It's a pretty simple one. You've probably even seen it in gift shops or something. What we're gonna do is take this amethyst point, which is, it's a pretty decent shape as far as what we're gonna be wrapping today. You can see how it's pretty rounded. It's not like your traditional crystal point, like for example, something like this, where it's elongated. That's cool. I don't know how it's catching that green, but that's cool. Oh, maybe from the green outside nature. Anyways, yeah, so today what we're going to be working with is a copper wire. Now this is electrician's wire that an electrician had just donated to me, which I'm grateful for because copper can be, it's one of those things that I'm grateful to receive it free as a gift. Anyways, so the amount of copper wire in the gauge I'm not sure actually. I would guess this is probably an 18, maybe 16 gauge. You do want a thicker gauge, certainly something at least 18 for this type of wrap. And let's get into it. So it's very simple. To begin, what we do is take the pliers. I would recommend maybe not starting at the tip of the pliers, but maybe somewhere down in the middle or even towards the base to pinch down. And you're just curling a little hook, just like that. And then from there, what you're gonna do is begin to, instead of coiling, you're gonna be doing a spiral. So a coil would look, the difference between a coil and a spiral. A coil would be something like this, for example. You could see how it stays, all the bands, all the individuals, they stay the same size and they just grow out in one direction. Whereas a spiral, you could see how each ring gets larger and larger. And then the other thing that's different than with a spiral is you can see how the coil, it's flat. It's not like the coil that goes up in one direction, it just remains flat. Anyways, so what we're doing is we curl that hook, and then as you might have seen, I just twisted with my fingers, continuing that spiral. It gets, once you get that initial hook, it's pretty easy to manipulate the copper with just your bare fingers. Anyways, what we're going for is a spiral about the width, or like the width of the crystal. So we have a few more spirals to go. We want to make sure that we could see the full radius of the copper spiral if we were to place the crystal on top of it. So maybe one more time around. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to push to create kind of like a spiral tower or a pyramid, so to speak. So you can see how it's bulging out now. And we want to make sure that we keep it kind of balanced, so it's not longer on one side or slouching on one side. As you can see, like here in that second one, how it kind of it sets it off skew, so we would want to correct that by just pulling that out a little bit. So go ahead and do that with your copper spiral. And now we can see it's kind of like this cone shape, or if it were the other way, it'd be like a pyramid shape, kind of a triangular shape. And then what we're gonna do is tuck the we'll open it a little bit more, actually. Kind of like an accordion, we're expanding it. And then we will take our crystal. Looks like my spiral is actually still a little bit too small to fit the crystal in, so what I'm gonna do is just kind of reverse the twist. Like if I were doing a spiral, I'd be going in the reverse direction, undoing the spiral, so to speak. Hopefully that's enough that the cage is now, or the frame is now big enough for me to fit the crystal inside. I want to have that, the tip or the point of the crystal is what's going to go pointing directly into that first ring there. And then once we get that secured, then we can kind of re-squeeze or rewind that accordion, and then kind of pull on the wire to kind of enclose the crystal inside that frame. What would be good is to, if you can see what I'm doing, I'm kind of pushing that wire above the absolute maximum width of the crystal. Now I can continue to spiral around the top, and now you can kind of see how the frame is taking shape. It's not my first attempt at this style of wrap, but I wouldn't say it's something that I'm greatly practiced in. As you can see, this is not a perfect sphere, but you do get the general idea of how this pendant is going to look. I have a lot of excess wire here, so just grab my clippers and clip that wire. I'm going to leave a little bit remaining because I'll need that to finish with the pendant lace loop. So what I do with that is choke up to the base of the pliers and then just twist it around, doing what I call the roller coaster loop-to-loop. And then kind of recenter the loop so that it's like directly above the center of the pendant. And then now we're gonna take this little bit that's left and just coil it around this wire here, so it coils around itself. And actually these pliers are not the best. Fortunately, I have these guys in my drawer. So the rounded fingers are not the greatest for completing this, tucking this little tip in. So generally I prefer something with the flat part of this pliers, and I'll be careful not to dip into that threshold. I want to focus just on the flat part. Also careful not to slide into the clippers and accidentally clip the wire. So yeah, using that flat part, as you can see how I have it positioned in there, and then I just kind of like pinch and roll, and then realign that loop too, making sure that that stays well adjusted on the angle. And then it's a very tricky, what I'm trying to do is bring this tip, instead of poking up, is to tuck it so it tucks in and continues that roll and tucks in right there. So just a gentle squeeze. And maybe a little bit more. See, it's poking from that side. There we go. That's nice and tucked in. And there we go. We just thread the lace through that loop and we have a pendant. That's a pretty decent one too.